Twig went into the last quarter 1 point in front and ended up being 28-point loss. Must have been a bit disappointed with that last quarter, considering you were right in the game.
Yeah, well, it was a very hard-fought game up to that point, and both sides had periods of momentum and probably was low scoring, but it just felt like if you got a good chain of play, that you had a chance to break free. But yeah, I thought that back line was terrific for most part of the day. In particular, the second quarter we were under the pump and it would keep us in it. And the third quarter we had our chances to put more score on the board and felt as though we just messed up a few up going inside in the third, which I think we needed a margin, given that it was clear the scoring end, the longer the game went. To be even up to, what was it, 10-12 minute mark, the last quarter, it was still all square. And yeah, I just thought when we went inside 50, we didn't keep it in there, it pinged out, and then yeah, one goal turned to two. As soon as I think Conforti kicked the first snap, yeah, the ball goes in, to kick another one straight away. It felt as though that 2-goal margin, still game on. Ball goes inside 50, Callow mark for all intents and purposes. I've been involved in footy a long time. I'm pretty sure when you're the man in front and get two hands on it, that's a mark. But yeah, it was the fine lines in the game. I thought our endeavour for most part of the game was really strong. I didn't think we were as clean as we could be. I thought they were really strong tackling. We were moments where we almost broke through and we didn't, and I thought that was the key moments where they stood up to those moments. But they were stronger for longer fundamentally, and that's what happens in those games, that arm wrestle, someone cracks, and unfortunately we cracked when the game was right on the line in the middle of that last quarter.
Yeah, last couple of weeks sort of played 6 pretty good quarters and then broken away. The opposition's broken away in the last quarter. Is that a bit of a concern 2 weeks in a row?
I think we've been in games trying to win it. Sometimes you have an admirable 10-point loss, or you keep fighting and trying to find ways to win, and it ends up going a bit more of a margin than what you'd like. But yeah, in the end, we weren't able to get it done when it mattered the most. I think the group have been really strong for this season. I think that you come and watch our boys play, I think you know what you're going to get more often than not, and best form hasn't been there the last 2 weeks, and I think that's where they should be given a lot of credit, the players, that we haven't played to our best the last 2 weeks. We've still been in the game against 2 strong teams in the last quarter. So you can see the silver lining, or you can go to negative street and see what the boys aren't doing, but I would have thought that what they are doing is putting themselves in games, and it's been a tough little 3-week block post the bye. It's Centrals at Centrals, Woodville been strong all year, and then Sturt at Sturt. So yeah, it's clearly prefer to come out the other side of it in the last quarters, and the margin in the end haven't been ideal, but I still feel the players are trying to give themselves the best chance to win, which sometimes can leave yourself exposed to be scored against. The Donnelly kick in the last quarter example, he tried to have a go at something to help us win it, didn't come off, shot a goal the other way. So that's what we have to be prepared to accept sometimes when you're trying to win.
Yeah, it must have been pleased for 3 quarters. You know, it was a pretty hostile environment, pretty big crowd at Unley Oval. Must have been really happy to be up at 3/4 time. Yeah,
well, I think that first quarter we should have been more in front. There was some easy shots missed, and then to give away that goal on the siren was very frustrating. Stand up to multiple inside 50s in the second and hold on for the most part was pleasing, and I keep coming back to it, but we didn't maximise the advantage we had in the third quarter. And when I think we got some momentum, I think Kuhnbusch took an intercept mark, went straight back, the ball gets over the back, and 40 kicks it from 50. They're big moments in these games, and at the time, at the 12-minute mark of the third quarter, you wonder how significant it'll be, but in the bigger picture it is. So yeah, I think frustration comes out because when it's such an arm wrestle and finite difference between being on the scoring end or the score against end, it's very fickle, and it was a really tough game. Was it 90 odd tackles to 85 or something like that? It was on a dry day. It was a demanding game, and yeah, we unfortunately had a couple of guys we saw in the last quarter who couldn't go back out, so it put us under more stress around the ball in the last quarter. So we've ended up having this is by no means a criticism, it's just the fact that I think Finn Hood was our second ruck in there with Alec Wright, Ben Simpson and Sam Morris at one stage, which given Lowe and Nelligan were off and Kenley had to have a break from being on ball, it's starting to ask a fair bit of those guys who aren't conditioned midfielders when you go against Battersby, Lewis, Snelling, Thiele, the guys who are hardened. So I think that the group were manful for most part. I think when we look back, there'll be some heaps of opportunities that we look at where we had our best in those key moments, and the answer will be no.
Yeah. How'd you see the midfield battle, Twig? You just mentioned it a little bit there, but you know, Snelling, Voss, Battersby, Lewis were the 4 main ball winners on the ground, outstanding midfielders in their right. We're a little bit thin with injury, but how do you see the midfield battle?
Yeah, well, Voss was down back and he was really strong to the point we had to put Twelftree to him, and Twelftree was able to curb his influence, but he had a big influence up to that point. I think the attrition over the course of the game, Selling came to life. He keeps getting a contest, and there's some moments there where you think we've just about got them. He turns up, and Battersby is a good clearance player, and Lewis is probably the strongest test tackle player in the comp. So I thought over the 4 quarters ended up winning the battle. The clearance numbers were equal, I think, but I think it was the influence of what they had. It was a low possession game overall, so people who were able to have strong moments probably stood out over the course of the game. And yeah, I think Voss was dominant. I think Snelling over 4 quarters, and Conforti jumps up and kicks 3, and yeah, their back line was strong. I thought Callow did a good job for us. I thought Twelftree competed hard, but yeah, we didn't have any small impact in the game, forward to centre. Probably down the other end, I thought Donnelly did a great job on Hone, and Law did a good job on Matthews. Had probably bad 2 moments against him and cost us both times, but those guys did a good job. I thought Hurd competed hard back playing to Jack Hurd level of footy. Tommy Graham was pretty solid, I thought, on Burrows over 4 quarters.
Yeah, Jackson Calais probably had his best game of the year and launched everything and provided a lockdown there, I thought. Yeah,
he looked likely. Yeah, he was on the move and made things happen. We probably got a little bit blasty with how we kicked inside 50. We didn't get many pinpoint passes, probably because we weren't getting through half forward the way we would have liked, or did we concede kicking long too quickly? That'd be something else we'll review. But Jacko's an imposing player. He gets a lot of attention each week. It's what you have to accept when you want to be the big key forward of a footy club. But I thought he was the one that looked likely for us to get the victory. And big moment the last quarter would have been interesting to where the game went if he had been paid that mark. Yeah, it must have been frustrating, a few undisciplined acts and free kicks there when the game was so tight. Oh, that was unacceptable, Josh. There was too many of them. We can get frustrated at the decision, or we can look at the behaviour, and there were moments where we had possession of the ball and we wanted to fight back against an opposition player, or we wanted to half play on and not play on, and yeah, things that keep coming back to big moments, and that's what these games are about. It was a finals-like intensity against a strong, mature team away from home, and yeah, you've got to do what's in your control right more often than not. And I would like to think this team could rarely be accused of being undisciplined, but I think it'd be every right to accuse us of that yesterday, because there was too many of those acts. Yeah, we've had a big 3-week block just gone, but to come is Port Adelaide, South West and the Crows. Big opportunity and a big month ahead for us. Yeah, I think the club's in a strong spot. I think if anyone had have been given the opportunity to pick where we could be positionally on the ladder from both grades at the halfway mark, it would be not far off where we're at the moment. So the bigger picture, I think the lens there is what we've all got to be cognizant of, and there's been a lot of work going to be in this spot, and the attrition of the season now really kicks in. Yeah, we've had a unfortunate little run with some key players being out, but everyone goes through it at some stage. It's how you deal with it, and are we just too accepting of good players are out, hopefully we can hang in, or are we going to do something about it? That's a question that has to be asked moving forward. But more of the optimist, Josh, and yeah, I can't wait to see what the group can do after a break. We give them a few days off this week, reset again next Monday for what's a big day for the club with the 84 and 2014 Premiership reunion, which the club does really well in acknowledging our past. So heaps of opportunity. This next patch, I think it's a 6-week block, which will be really good to get some continuity with games and see where we can get ourselves best positioned for over the course of this marathon. Not a sprint, that's where you end up, and how we can keep growing players, how we can keep looking at what we currently do, what works, what needs some alteration or tinkering. We can't just accept what we do is going to be the right way the whole year. So I'm really pleased with the playing group, with what they've been able to put out there over the bigger sample size of 9 weeks, and I know what type of character we've got within this group and capability, and there's lots of improvement in us, so that's where the optimism comes from within 4 walls. Yeah, I know you appreciate the history of the club so much, but yeah, you mentioned 2 reunions, 84 and 14. Will that play any part in your preparations to next Sunday when we play Port? Yeah, we will. I think it'd be negligent not to, and yeah, I do love the history of clubs, and we've referenced 84 a lot whenever we play Port Adelaide. And a lot of moments in that game that spring to mind, which the players have been educated on, and I just love the opportunity for our past players and coaches and staff to come back and be recognised for what they gave. And 2014 as well, like it shouldn't be, you can't keep board winning. And the third of three, and different coach, Ben Moran was the coach, and I'm not sure, I think there's only 5 players from memory who played in all 3, so there's a lot of new players. It's their time to be recognised, and so it's a big deal, and the balance is to bring it to life without being too caught up in it as a playing group, but it's part of our job to keep educating our current players what the history of the club's been about and what people have given, and also what we can create as a group ourselves.
The injury list is reasonably long right at the moment. Do you think you get anyone back for that Port game?
Yeah, it should be a fair few. I think we were 7 unavailable 3 weeks ago, and it was 17 on the weekend, and yeah, that makes it challenging. As I said before, every club has their little go during the season of when the availability is a challenge for you or a stress, but yeah, I think 6 to 7 should be available after the break, and that's hoping that Nelligan and Lowe and Robinson, who all had issues over the weekend, will be okay. And so hopefully it's Locke, White, Cootie, possibly O'Neill, Sermon, Tahini, Sanders, Jenkin. I think there's 8. I think that all should be available, but in this game you learn to wait and see up until the Thursday night before the game. So they're all free.
Perfect. Thanks, Vic.
Thanks, Josh.